Jonathan lived a simple life. He worked, he ate, he slept. One day he wandered into a dusty antique shop. Musty air hung heavy, cobwebs laced forgotten treasures. His hand brushed against a cold, smooth surface. He saw a doorway, shimmering like water. It pulsed with an otherworldly light. Curiosity gnawed at him. He stepped through. The air on the other side crackled with energy. He felt a strange shift, a disorientation. When he opened his eyes, the antique shop was gone. He found himself in a field. The grass was crimson, swaying in the breeze. Above him, the sky was an impossible shade of lavender. His heart pounded in his chest. He touched the strange grass. It felt real yet different. His mind raced. Where was he? How did he get here? He walked for what felt like hours. The landscape remained unchanged. He was utterly alone, a stranger in a strange land. Fear began to creep in. He stumbled upon a mysterious town. Buildings scraped the lavender sky, towering above. People walked by, their faces a mixture of the familiar and the strange. He saw a woman across the street. She looked exactly like his neighbor, Mrs. Henderson, but younger. He called out to her. She didn't react at all. He spent days in the town, searching for answers. He met others who resembled people he knew. Their lives were similar, yet subtly altered. He began to question his own reality deeply. He traveled through more doorways. Each world offered a variation on his own. He met different versions of himself, living out alternate paths. He became a renowned scientist in one world, a celebrated artist in another. With each life he lived, his own memories became blurred. He struggled to hold on to who he was. He lost track of how many worlds he had visited. The doorways became easier to find, as if the universe itself was urging him forward. He was lost in a labyrinth of his own making. The unsettling truth was sinking in. Home was lost. He found himself yearning for the normalcy of his old life. He longed for his small apartment, his mundane job. He missed the people he loved, even the ones he hadn't realized he cared for. He tried to find his way back. He retraced his steps, hoping to stumble upon a familiar, shimmering doorway. But each world he entered was new, unfamiliar. He was adrift in a sea of infinite possibilities. The realization struck him. He might never find his way home. Despair settled over him like a shroud. A shocking revelation awaited the architect of worlds. This was no ordinary figure. He was the creator of realms, the weaver of destinies. He wandered for what felt like an eternity, through landscapes that defied logic and reason. Each step took him deeper into the unknown, where the boundaries of reality blurred. His hope dwindled with each passing day. The weight of his journey bore down on him, and the fog of uncertainty clouded his mind. He questioned his purpose, his very existence. Then, in a world bathed in perpetual twilight, he found it. The air was thick with mystery, and the sky painted in hues of purple and gold. It was a place where time seemed to stand still. A towering structure, pulsating with energy, stood before him. It was unlike anything he had ever seen, a beacon of hope in the twilight. It reached for the swirling purple sky as if trying to touch the heavens. The structure seemed alive, its energy resonating with the very fabric of the universe. He knew, somehow, that this held the answers he sought. He stepped inside, his heart pounding with anticipation. The doorway glowed with an otherworldly light, inviting him into the unknown. An old man sat before a massive control panel, galaxies swirling across its surface. The room was filled with holographic displays, each one showing a different world, a different reality. The man turned, his eyes filled with ancient wisdom. They seemed to hold the secrets of the universe, a depth of knowledge that spanned eons. "I've been expecting you," he said, his voice calm and serene. It was as if he had known of this meeting for centuries, waiting for the right moment. "I am the architect of these worlds, and you, traveler, are my greatest creation. You have journeyed far, and now the answers you seek are within your grasp. Welcome to your destiny." The architect explained. Jonathan wasn't just a traveler, he was a seed, planted in the multiverse to observe, to learn, to grow. The doorways, the worlds, they were all part of a grand experiment. Jonathan was furious. His life, his choices, they weren't his own. He demanded to be returned to his world, his life. The architect smiled sadly. "The choice is yours," he said. He could stay, explore the infinite, become something more. Or he could return, his memories altered, a shadow of his former self. He had a choice to make, a choice that would shape his destiny. He stood before the swirling vortex of the doorway, a gateway to realms unknown and adventures untold. The air around him crackled with energy. The very fabric of reality seemed to shimmer and dance. Behind him lay the infinite, a tapestry of worlds waiting to be explored. Each world held its own secrets, its own challenges, and its own beauty. The possibilities were endless, each more enticing than the last. Ahead, a single path, leading back to a life he barely remembered. A life of simplicity, of routine, of familiarity. It was a life that once felt secure, but now seemed distant and almost foreign. He closed his eyes, feeling the weight of the decision pressing down on him. The choice was monumental, a turning point that would define his existence. He took a deep breath, centering himself, trying to find clarity amidst the chaos. He had journeyed through countless worlds, lived countless lives. Each experience had left its mark, shaping him in ways he never imagined. He had faced dangers, discovered wonders, and met beings beyond his wildest dreams. He had lost himself, found himself, and lost himself again. The journey had been as much about self-discovery as it was about exploration. He had been broken and rebuilt, time and time again. He realized then that he couldn't go back. The person he once was had been irrevocably changed. The experiences had left an indelible mark on his soul, altering his very essence. The Jonathan who had walked into that dusty antique shop no longer existed. That moment had been the catalyst, the beginning of a journey that had transformed him in ways he could never have anticipated. He was changed, reshaped by the experiences he had endured. Each world had left its imprint. Each life had added a new layer to his being. He was a mosaic of all the lives he had lived, a tapestry woven from the threads of countless realities. He was a traveler, a citizen of the multiverse. The stars were his guide, the galaxies his playground. He had become something more than human, a being of infinite possibilities. And as he stood before the swirling vortex, he knew that his journey was far from over. The multiverse awaited, and with it, the promise of endless adventure. He stepped back from the doorway, a sense of calm washing over him. The world outside was chaotic, filled with noise and endless movement, but here, in this moment, he found tranquility. The doorway was more than just an entrance. It was a threshold between the known and the unknown, between the chaos of the outside world and the serenity of his inner sanctuary. He was home, in a way. This place, though not defined by walls or a roof, was a sanctuary of the mind. It was a space where he could be himself, free from the expectations and pressures of the outside world. Here he could breathe, think, and simply exist. Home wasn't a place, but a state of being. It was a feeling of belonging, of being at peace with oneself. It was the comfort of knowing that, no matter where he was, he could always find his way back to this state of mind. It was a realization that home was not a physical location, but a mental and emotional sanctuary. It was the acceptance of the unknown, the embrace of the infinite. The vast, star-filled sky was a reminder of the endless possibilities that lay beyond the horizon. It was a symbol of the mysteries that awaited discovery, the adventures yet to be embarked upon. It was a call to embrace the unknown, to step into the infinite with courage and curiosity. He looked up at the swirling galaxies, a sense of wonder filling him. Each galaxy was a universe unto itself, a collection of stars, planets, and possibilities. The sight of these swirling cosmic formations reminded him of the beauty and complexity of the universe. It was a humbling experience, one that filled him with awe and a deep sense of connection to the cosmos. He was a small part of something vast and unknowable, and that filled him with a strange sense of peace. In the grand scheme of the universe, he was but a tiny speck, a fleeting moment in the infinite expanse of time and space. Yet this realization did not bring fear or insignificance. Instead, it brought a profound sense of peace and acceptance. He was part of a greater whole, a single thread in the intricate tapestry of existence. He was a paradox, a single being spread across infinite realities. Each reflection, each duplicate, represented a different version of himself, a different path taken, a different choice made. He was both singular and multiple, a unique individual, and yet a part of a larger, interconnected web of existence. This paradox was not a source of confusion, but a source of wonder and exploration. He was both everything and nothing, a traveler lost and found in the vast expanse of the multiverse. In this cosmic landscape, he found a sense of belonging and purpose. He was a wanderer, exploring the infinite possibilities of existence, yet always finding his way back to his inner sanctuary. He was a traveler, not just of the physical world, but of the mind and spirit, forever seeking, forever discovering. He turned away from the doorway, his heart light. He didn't know where he would go next, what wonders he would discover. But he knew one thing: he was no longer afraid. He took a step forward into the swirling heart of the unknown. The multiverse awaited, and he, the traveler, was ready to explore its infinite possibilities. The journey, he realized, was just beginning, and he, the traveler between realms, would walk it with open arms and a heart full of wonder.